It's great to have you here on the Clark Howard Show, where our mission is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you make better financial decisions in your life. And I was talking the other day about using credit cards responsibly to your advantage. And today I'm going to talk about what many use as an alternative to them, debit cards. You know, I call them the piece of trash fake Visa or fake MasterCard for a reason. And later, I got great news. There's yet another option that is growing more convenient for you to get prescriptions for a lot less money. And I'm going to tell you about it. Okay, so story after story keeps popping up about how disgustingly terrible the piece of trash fake Visa and fake MasterCard are. You look at one and it looks like you're using a real credit card, a Visa or MasterCard credit card. But the reality is it's a piece of trash. And the reason it's trash is because the banks fought in Congress to prevent you having consumer protections on a debit card like you have on a credit card. And the banks just sit there and laugh behind your back and my back as you get ripped off to the end of the earth. So the rules governing a debit card, totally different. And they are based on an obscure federal statute. And so the burden is all on you as a consumer. And so let's say somebody gets a hold of your debit card number, just like they might get a hold of your credit card number. Let's look at the differences. With a credit card, what's your liability risk for stolen card number being used? Would you guess it is 0? Would you guess it's $50? Those are the two guesses, because under federal law, the maximum you're liable for is $50. But most of the credit card issuers now have capped at 0 liability. So with a credit card, that number gets stolen, your physical card gets stolen, you have at max $50 liability. As long as you're not in a deep sleep like a bear hibernating for winter, and you let 2 billing cycles go by before you notice, and then after 60 days, it's bad on you, not on them. And then you'd be out the money. All right, let's talk about a debit card. The 60 days on a debit card is 2 days. 2 days. You have 2 days from when you notice that there was a fraudulent charge made or debit from your debit card. You have 2 days to notify your financial institution. If you notice in 2 days, your liability is capped at $50. Otherwise, it's capped at $500. And here's the bad part. What happens with a credit card? There was a charge to your account. That's all. What happens with a debit card? The money is gone from your checking account, and you're then fighting with your bank or credit union to try to get your own money that was stolen from your account restored to your account. And there's a USA Today story that ran recently about case after case after case where somebody's card number was compromised. Not even their card. They still had their card. And the bank's like, tough, we're not giving the money back. Then they detailed one after another, after another, after another. Wait, but it gets worse. You buy something with a debit card online from an online seller, and the stuff doesn't come. With a debit card, you lose the money. With a credit card, you dispute the charge for failure to receive goods and services, which I talked about the wonderful protections that credit cards have on a recent podcast. The debit card is a piece of trash that burns your cash. Ooh, that's new. I never said that before. I like that. Good rhyme. Piece of trash that burns your cash. And see, here's the thing. The bankers are idiots. This is an example of short-sighted stupidity on the part of the banks. The banks love for you to use a debit card. So why not provide real protections with it and encourage the Congress, instead of fighting the Congress, giving consumers real protections with teeth using a debit card? Because then people would be more likely and willing to use a debit card. Duh! Those of you who listened to me for a long time have heard me tell the story about a late Wisconsin senator named William Proxmire, who, I think it was in the late 1960s, the banks were using every bit of lobbying power possible to prevent any consumer protections for credit cards. Credit cards were new then, and nobody would use them because they were so risky. And Proxmire is sitting there up on his Senate dais, and he's saying to these bank loco people, you realize if you would put in protections, people would actually want to carry your cards. And the bank still fought it. Proxmire got it through, put in place the wonderful consumer protections we have on credit cards today, and the rest is history. Credit cards exploded in popularity. You treat people right. Why bankers don't get that, I don't understand. But you need to understand how dangerous a debit card is to carry and use. Now, as I have said, if you know you can't handle a credit card, and if you have a credit card, you'll charge yourself into oblivion of debt, then it is the least bad choice for you to use a debit card. I shouldn't have to say least bad choice. If they would provide actual real protections, I'd be fine with you using that debit card.
All right, we'll go to questions. This one's...
Oh, by the way, I'm Person of the Year at the American Bankers Association
convention. My God, congratulations. What's the prize?
I get to get hooked up to a wall and they throw darts at me.
Okay, Betsy in Georgia says, we've lived in our home for 10 years and we owe $100,000 on our mortgage. And she gives some stats there, the interest rate, etc. We need to grade our backyard and install a new fence, fix construction sinkhole, and current fence is falling down on all sides. And we have received a trusted estimate of $30,000 to complete everything. We're wondering what the best way is to finance these necessary repairs.
Before you go with the choices, I do want to point out current mortgage rate is 3.875%. Congratulations on that.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm trying not to throw out too many numbers because remember somebody's complaining about me.
Go ahead, though. We need them.
Here are the options. A home equity loan, estimated interest rate about just under 7%. A $20,000 loan on my credit card and a $10,000 loan on her husband's credit card for 36 months, 10% monthly payment. All right. Or a personal loan, first attempt at checking rates showed about 18%, which immediately knocks this option out. My husband and I have great credit.
Yeah, the answer is 1.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. You do the home equity loan if you're going to keep the money out for up to the 5 years at 7% is a very fair deal for having the money to do work on your home. If you were going to pay it back in a short cycle, I would say a home equity line of credit, but this 7% you've got is a good offer, and I would do that.
Lynn in California says, for a number of reasons, I want to buy a cheap secondary cell phone. Sometimes it would be convenient to have another phone when I don't want to tie up my main phone. I don't really care about data. I just need the phone calling function. Do I Do you use track phone or go with Mint or something else?
Something else.
Okay. I'm open to pay an annual fee up front, but I just want the best deal. Please help me, Clark.
I tested it a while back because I was skeptical, and it was Hello Mobile. And I think it still is $5 flat a month, unlimited calling, unlimited text. And it's a great deal for somebody on a second phone who doesn't need data on it. And it's a legit deal. The 5 includes all the taxes and junk fees. So you're talking, and you pay it as a monthly thing at $5 a month. And I had no problems with it at all. And go ahead.
I was just going to say we do have a review of that on Clark.com.
And it was good. I was really happy with it.
And we have a cell phone. Don't forget our cell phone plan finder on Clark.com. Clark.com/phone plan finder, which is a tool. So it was so awesome that we developed. And it's our tool where you put in, and we constantly update the database. Put in what you need in a cell phone. And in this case, Hello Mobile sounds like the right thing. But for everyone else, you put in what your needs are, how many lines you need, and we tell you what are the best available plans for you. Maria in California says, I took out $75,000 from my traditional IRA this year to pay off my mortgage. I'm 62 and recently retired. No taxes were withheld from the distribution. Do I need to pay estimated taxes in 24, or will the taxes be due next April?
You definitely want to pay estimates, and gosh, we're at a point where you've only got one estimate period left, which is January 15th, and I would go ahead and pay in then, because every day that goes by, you have potential underpayment penalty on that, which didn't mean much for years, but now the interest rates are higher, it's more meaningful as a tax. But don't lose any sleep over this. It's not going to be a huge underpayment penalty. It's just that paying the estimates would help you avoid that on the money. And when you have a distribution, it's your choice whether or not you have withholding taken from it, and you can elect with the brokerage or whoever it's with whether you're going to have withholding to avoid the possibility of an underpayment penalty, but it's not going to be terrible. So coming up ahead, what is terrible is this roulette we have at the pharmacy counter. We have no idea, is your prescription going to be this huge amount or a little amount or somewhere in between. And it's getting easier and easier to avoid that roulette. And we're going to talk about another option for lower cost prescriptions that is becoming much more convenient for your wallet. I don't know if you heard the news, but Walgreens is closing another 1,200 pharmacies in the United States. CVS is closing hundreds, if not thousands, of locations in the United States. And what this is about is consumers basically said, we're not paying the huge prices that we might get stuck with at Walgreens or CVS. The marketplace is moving on, offering many times much better choices than CVS or Walgreens. And as I've said in the past, I feel so bad for the pharmacists, especially at CVS, who have been so mistreated by CVS and being put under pressure that has led to so many documented errors in filling scripts. It's a scandal to me. But the great news, again, the marketplace answering. And Amazon has been trying to get more and more share in pharmacies. And now they are strategically opening up regional pharmacy dispensing operations where you'll be able to get same-day delivery of prescriptions right to your door. And more of U.S. population, as we move into the first quarter of 25, are going to have access to what are pretty reasonable prices from the Amazon pharmacy operation on many meds and have the same day delivery. Because one of the problems with mail order is if you got something ailing you, you need it same day. You can't wait for a mail order that might take a week or two for the med to get to you. And so Amazon is cutting that time out of the picture in major metros with the same day delivery. And Amazon's just another example of all the ways that you can now get prescriptions so much more affordably. And they're hemming in the high price operations at Walgreens and CVS, which is why they're having to shrink. And that's how the market should work. And so the thing is, with you and where you fill your scripts, if you're worried about how much they cost, look at the options available. We have a guide at Clark.com that slugged just 10 ways to save on prescription drugs. And we keep having to revise it because the options for you to save on scripts is getting better and better and better. And so this is an area where it felt like the train only went one way, and that's not true anymore. And CVS and Walgreens are going to have to adapt, or they will not only become irrelevant, they will die. And it's just a fact. And it's actually a good thing that we have all these others that are stepping in, like Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs, which when it was announced with great flourish, has continued to grow, but pretty silently as an option, in addition to the warehouse clubs and other options. So I'm excited that this is an industry that needed change, and it's happening.
That's awesome. Okay, Alice in Alabama wrote into you, and she said, after the manufacturer's warranty of 1 year expires on a new dishwasher, should I buy an additional year's warranty?
Okay, Alice. Okay, I love this. Because Alice, every time I answer this question, we get hot responses from people who hate my answer. And that is, do not buy an additional year of warranty on that dishwasher. Dishwashers will break, and it's true. And sometimes the breaks are catastrophic, but you're better off. The math says you're better off if you did have a catastrophic fail of that dishwasher at whatever point it is, replacing it, because the money you'll save over the years not buying an extension of a service contract will be enough money to buy the new dishwasher when the time comes.
Linda in Ohio says, I'm confused. You guys say you don't go to the bank and get cash out, but how do you pay for things when they want to charge you 3% extra for using a credit card?
This is a great question. And this is one that I do carry. As I've said, I carry a supply of cash. I almost never have to use it. But when I do, and there are places that only like to take cash or only accept cash. So I do have cash. I don't know how much I have right now. And I do occasionally go to an ATM and get cash. And so I am prepared for either circumstance. How about you?
I do have cash on me right now, but I didn't have any for a while. I just recently went to the ATM just to have some. Emily in Illinois says, our insurance has gone up so much on our vehicles, so I went shopping. I found a plan that will on homeowners and auto save us about $2,500 per year.
Wow, that's a big savings.
I know.
Isn't it?
And the new policy is one on your good list, and it has the same to better coverage. My only fear about switching is that our home is 20 years old and the roof is fine, but I'd even say it's in good shape. But with 20 years, could the new insurer force a new roof? That's not the only worry I have about rocking the ship of insurance. I worry that our roof is big, and if they force it, we wouldn't have the money on hand to do it. Though I will start taking the insurance savings to be ready for a roof in a few years. I'll start saving that insurance savings. Thanks for all you do. I've been a fan since my dad started me listening in '93 as a high school freshman, and now my husband and I, with public service jobs, education, and firefighter, do pretty well with some of the tips I've learned from you over the years, especially Roths and 403B and how to maximize what we save. And it's even passed on to our new college grad who's saving in her own Roth.
Okay, that's fantastic. So you've been listening for 31 years. I bet after 31 years, you can answer questions before I start to answer them at this point. On your decision, insurers, as I addressed recently on the podcast, are routinely checking your home, often by satellite. Some insurers constantly, even in extreme cases, every day. So yeah, it is possible, even with who you're with now, that you're switching from to save this $2,500 a year, it's possible that you would have them at some point, either your old one or this new one would say, we want you to replace that roof. And when that point would come, who knows? Also depends where you are in the country. You're in Illinois. You're far away from the coasts where the windstorms, the hurricanes have led to so much of this with, we're only going to insure you if you replace the roof. But it could happen even in the heartland of the country. As far as what you're doing with your money, it's fantastic. And also thank you both for what you do for a living as a teacher and as a firefighter. Having done a TV special in a fire training center, I don't have that courage that you got as a firefighter to go into a burning building. Because when I went into a burning building at the training center, I didn't like it so much, even though I was in one of those fire protective suits. That was not my best day, I'll tell you. But I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you need one-on-one advice and counsel, that is a free service we offer 30 hours each week. You can see how to do that if you go to clark.com/CAC. And know what everything we do is devoted to is you learning ways to save more, spend less, and avoid getting ripped off. And we'll see you tomorrow.